like a summer Friday. How the heck are you? It's Evan and Tiki. Ton to get to. We'll get to the Mets later. We'll get to the Yankees later. But let's get to what matters the most. Both the New York Giants and the New York Jets are trying to save their seasons on Sunday. That's the reality. And I know that in a few weeks, in all likelihood, Jet fans are going to be talking about the draft, and Giant fans are going to be talking about when to start Jackson Dart. Stop. I know that it probably ends badly, but I'm a believer, especially when it's September, of still finding hope that your season can go somewhere. And here's the reality, Tiki. If the New York Giants and the New York Jets are going to have a legitimate season where they are going to be in the hunt and have us believing deep into the fall, they have to win on Sunday. The numbers are the numbers. When you're 0-2, there's a 12% chance you make the playoffs.
Right.
You want to run those numbers when you're 0-3? Because I've done it, and it's darker.
0?
It's 2%.
Is it?
2%. 4 teams in the history of the sport have made the playoffs after starting off 0-4.
Yes.
Or 0-3, I should say.
Most of those teams that start off 0-3 are just bad teams. So here's the challenge. If you do start 0-3, convincing yourself that you're not a bad team. For instance, the New York Giants somehow find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Whether it's walk-off 68-yard field goal by Graham Gano. Let's call it that. The Chiefs are 0-3.
Yeah.
They're not a bad team. They're just 0-3.
Correct.
So maybe they change the narrative a little bit, and maybe it's 0-3. You can make the postseason. But if the Giants or the Jets go 0-3, it almost feels like, oh, this is what we expected.
Yes.
No chance to make the playoffs. Just forget about it.
It would just confirm our worst fears that this is going to be another lost season. And look, on the Jet end of things, this season began with hope of change and hope of competitiveness. And to quote the head coach, the fans will be proud of us. Well, right now they're 0-2, and they're coming off a game on Sunday in which they were a non-competitive mess. They are facing a team in Tampa that's riddled by injuries, and a team in Tampa who, let's be honest, while they're 2-0, they trailed with seconds to go in both of those games. The Buccaneers, we talk about how easily you could be 0-2 or 1-1. Very easily, the Buccaneers could be 0-2, considering the way they pulled the games out. This game on Sunday, first with the Jets, we'll get to the Giants in a minute, is really to save where this season can go. Because if you can go down to Tampa and bounce back from what was a wretched performance a week earlier and get yourself to 1-2 going into a Monday night against an 0-3 Dolphin team where they may well quit on their head coach despite the effort last night, season's on temporarily. But if you lose on Sunday, and I don't even care how it's done, like even if it's a close loss and it was encouraging like week 1, you're still setting yourself up for what we as Jet fans are way too used to, which is a lost season of irrelevance. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I think this team has enough talent to avoid something like that. I'm not saying they're winning a Super Bowl or winning 10 games or even making the playoffs, but they should at least be competitive. They should at least make us dream in mid-September of having a full season. So what's on the line Sunday for this head coach and for this roster is not their jobs, not going nuts, but it's the relevance of the season.
Yeah, look, we saw it in week 1, and I tried to tell you, and you were right to have some skepticism of what I was trying to tell you, meaning you don't have that many problems. You just lost a close game against a historically good Pittsburgh Steelers team. I don't know how good the Steelers are going to be this year, but the point was you lost a close game. That happens in the NFL. Week 2 made it feel more dire because it was a blowout.
Yeah.
And so
And it's 0-2.
Exactly. And any good feels that came from just missing out on a win against the Steelers were obliterated by getting blown out and then also being 0-2. For the Giants, it's similar, but it's flipped because you looked bad in week 1, but you just missed out on a win against the ridiculous leg in Brandon Aubrey for the Cowboys. And so you're 0-2, but you look good in the previous week. So it's all perception when you really think about it. But at the bottom line is you got to find a way to win.
It's a win business.
Win and win. That's the only thing that matters.
And you're right in that the Jets and the Giants over the first 2 weeks share that common bond of 1 week was wretched, the other week was competitive and a tough loss. But the bottom line is they're both 0-2. And 0-3 is a depressing state. And I've been listening to Aaron Glenn every day this week, and I believe in Aaron Glenn. Overall, I still think he has a chance to be the guy we've been waiting for. But Aaron Glenn said something, and I felt I almost took it personal as he was saying it. Listen to Aaron Glenn talk about being 0-2.
It was week 2, and the sky's not falling. As much as we all think it is, as much as all the outside know, as much as you guys write about that, the sky's not falling.
Okay, so the sky's not falling at 0-2. All right, calm down, Evan.
Stop being Chicken Little.
Is the sky falling at 0-3, Coach? Like, at what point would we say the sky is falling? Because you told us at the beginning of the year, we want to make you proud. That's a successful season.
Success, right.
Okay, I'm not proud. And I don't think any Jet fan is proud. So you can go after the writers and the fans for saying, boy, you guys are acting like the sky is falling. You got embarrassed in week 2 in a non-competitive mess in which you made so many mistakes. So I'm not offing you as the head coach by any stretch, but don't tell us the sky isn't falling.
0-2, the sky's not falling.
Well, what is it then? Then you tell me, Coach, if the sky isn't falling at 0-2, what happens at 0-3, where they're likely to be? Can I say the sky is falling then? Or, nah, don't worry, the sky's still not falling.
If it's not falling, it definitely got a lot lower.
The cloud cover is really hovering.
Exactly.
And
there's a lot of fog today.
My confidence level in the Jets on Sunday only goes this far. I have to believe, Tiki, they're going to give a better effort. Mm-hmm. I have to believe, let's start with the offensive side of the ball. Justin Fields on Sunday against Buffalo played one of the single worst games you'll ever see a quarterback play. In fact, if you go by whatever data you want to use to judge a quarterback, Justin Fields' worst game in the NFL was Sunday against the Buffalo Bills.
Absolutely. 1.1 QB rating or whatever the heck it was. Someone called and told us yesterday. We already know that because he didn't, he played 4 passes for 27 yards?
It was brutal.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. And in contrast, week 1 was one of the best games of his NFL career.
Yes.
I have to think that Tyrod Taylor, for what he is, will give you at least a solid effort because I think Tyrod Taylor's floor is a lot higher than Justin Fields.
Right, assuming health.
His ceiling is not as high. Like, you can see the best of Justin Fields, and we've seen glimpses of it, obviously briefly with the Jets, but even before that with Chicago, Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable backup. So I have to think, Teak, right off the top, they will be a better offense. I think they'll run the football more effectively. We saw them do that so well week 1 against Pittsburgh. It was non-existent against Buffalo.
Well, you just miss out on the one piece of the run game that is invaluable, and that's Justin Fields' ability to create a mismatch.
Absolutely.
As a running quarterback. Now, Tyrod Taylor is not immobile, so he can move. You just worry that when Tyrod Taylor starts moving and gets hit, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you worry about with him. But I agree with you. It's got to be the run game because that's what it was in week 1. So week 1, they ran for 150 yards or whatever the heck it was. I knew Breece Hall had 108 yards, and it just felt like they were more in control because they could control what they could call next. It's different when you don't have a run game and everybody knows what you're doing. You're dropping back to pass the ball. It's easier to come after you. It's easier to scheme coverages for you. But when you can run the football, it just gives you so many more options as a play caller. Interestingly, they did when they tried to run the football in last week. They ran well.
Right.
So it's not something that's dead one week and great the other week. They just couldn't get to it because they were behind.
They were behind right from jump.
Right.
And I happen to think like there's certain aspects of week 1 and week 2 where the Jets will meet in the middle. They're not as bad as what they were in week 2.
No.
They're not as good as the way they played offensively in week 1, and obviously the quarterback's different. I happen to think they'll be able to run the football. So maybe I'm naive. Their offense better look better. I also think that the mental mistakes that we saw in week 2, I'd have to assume, and again, maybe I'm being naive, and maybe the sky will be falling worse than I thought. I'd have to think that they are not going to commit brutal third down penalties that are going to keep the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the field continuously.
Right.
I have to just take the leap of faith that the tongue lashing they probably got from this head coach and from Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, and watching the tape will elicit a better performance.
Yeah.
I have to think that.
Here's the one thing. This is the intangible that's hard to put a stat on that I think is going to be important in Tampa for this game specifically. Baker Mayfield brings an energy to the game and to his team that if you don't match, because he's going to talk trash to you.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to do some pretty amazing stuff. It's just Baker's a good like that. And if you don't match it on the road, it overwhelms you. And so one of the challenges with going down to Tampa is matching the energy of Baker Mayfield and what he brings in the I don't know, the aura that surrounds him when he's playing really good football like he has been the last couple of weeks.
Well, one thing that would help, and I guess this is a positive, is to be in position where they have a lead in the fourth quarter, and unlike the Houston Texans and the Atlanta Falcons, actually get off the field and not let Baker Mayfield do something amazing to beat you,
right,
which he did 2 weeks in a row.
Of course.
I think the Jet effort will be better. Now, is that enough? No. They got to win a freaking game. And that brings me to the Giants. If the Giants were playing a 1-1 Chiefs team, if they were playing a 2-0 Chiefs team, this is the exact moment where I'd want to play the Kansas City Chiefs. It's early in the season. That's usually when they're most beatable.
They're on the road.
Like, I remember Sean back in July and August saying, they're going to beat the Chiefs. And you said it a few times.
Yep.
And I didn't take it as you being a shill. I took it as I can kind of see it. Mm-hmm. Like, that does make sense. The fact they're 0-2, and I don't believe that they're a bad team. I don't believe that what we've seen over the first 2 weeks against the Chargers and the Eagles, Patrick Mahomes statistically is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I don't believe that. Their defense is like 25th in the league. Guess what? I don't believe that either. They're a top 5 defense.
Right.
I don't believe what we've seen from Kansas City. So when you combine that with the fact they're 0-2, I have a really tough time seeing how, even though the Giants are a desperate team, they're going to beat that desperate team. Like, the Chiefs being 0-2 scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, the thing that gives you faith that the Chiefs might be vulnerable is that they just haven't been good offensively. It's Hollywood Brown's their leading receiver, and I like Hollywood Brown, but is he a number one receiver right now? Now, it obviously hurts that Xavier Worthy has been out. Potential he's going to play this game?
Potentially. Remember, Rashee Rice suspended.
Yeah, and obviously Rashee Rice has been suspended all season long. That was the traffic thing or something. I forget what it was exactly. But anyways, he's...
And the Kansas City Chiefs are wearing T-shirts in, like, basically they want him freed.
Yes.
Even though he did something illegal and really dangerous.
Right.
But Chief players don't really think about that.
Right, exactly. We deserve to be able to play. And then you look at Travis Kelce, who doesn't feel like the Travis Kelce from even 3 years ago. And so... There's hope because it feels like the Kansas City Chiefs are flawed. I mean, other than the Buffalo Bills, what team isn't flawed?
Exactly. Well, they're all flawed.
I guess the Eagles aren't necessarily flawed, even though they haven't thrown a touchdown pass. But
they haven't needed to.
They're 2-0, and they haven't needed to throw a touchdown pass.
But don't you think with the Kansas City Chiefs, like, I'll start with their run game. Like, I'm not telling you that Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco is going to give you this 1-2 punch that leads the league in rushing, but they're better than the way they played.
Yeah.
They're better than that. Travis Kelce is not giving the ball away on Sunday night. He's better than the way he's played. Right. Unless we just assume, he's done. He's getting married to Taylor Swift. He doesn't care anymore. Unless you're going down that route, Travis Kelce, to me, is still an elite-level player until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I see the Chiefs having played just far below what their talent tells you, despite the flaws that you described.
They've had to have their quarterback, Pat Mahomes, be the hero. He's trying to do it all. He's their leading rusher, Pat Mahomes.
By a lot.
By a lot.
Yeah, by double.
I know.
Actually, by triple, if you want to really get into the
Yeah,
leagues.
exactly. So he's doing it all. And I guess when a team is struggling, your best player tends to want to do that, do it all. And so if you're thinking of a game plan for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's frustrate the hell out of Pat Mahomes because he's the only one that's hurting anybody this season for this team offensively.
Well, to that point, forget the fact that they're 0-2. Every time we've seen the Chiefs actually stumble and have a big loss in front of our eyes that hasn't been versus the team, what has been the definition of it? A pass rush beating the crap out of him. To me, the only reason I have optimism is the entire identity of this Giant offseason was built on this pass rush.
Right.
And that is how Patrick Mahomes has lost these big games. That's the reason to lean on for hope.
And that was coming into the season, I think, when we viewed the Giants and said, okay, how can they be good? How can they be better than maybe we think? We thought that would be the identity, and it still can, but we haven't seen that yet.
Not consistently. You've seen it at times.
A little
Brian
bit.
Burns has had some impact on both of the games that he's played in, but it's not relentless. It's not every single snap you drop back. Man, someone's in the quarterback's face. That's what we expected. It's not what we're getting. And then obviously they're banged up at the second level. All the linebackers are hurt and kind of unavailable. You got practice squad guys coming.
The Giants winning doesn't mean they're going to be a playoff team. The Jets winning doesn't mean they're going to be a playoff team. But either team losing means they're not going to be a playoff team. And that's the way I look at week 3 when you're 0-2.
Unless they're the 2%.
Unless they're the 2%, and there's no way the Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields-led New York Jets, and with all due respect, the Giants coming off back-to-back losing seasons, they're not the 2%. We're not. So here is Savior Season Sunday. If the Jets and the Giants can win a game, all right, we got some hope. The sky isn't falling. If they lose a game, we're going to be talking about things you never want to talk about in September and October. In the Giants' case, it's, when are we going to the young quarterback? And in the Jets' case, it's, hey, did you see that college football game on Saturday? Should we draft that quarterback? Now, I ask you a question, and we'll get everyone's answer when we come back. Plus, we'll get your calls at 888-808-1019. Plus, I put this out as a poll, so I'm curious what the people say. Who has the better chance of stealing a victory on Sunday? They're both underdogs. They're both underdogs by basically the same amount of points. The Jets right now are 6-point underdogs in Tampa. The Giants are 5.5-point underdogs at home against Kansas City. Who has the better chance to save their season on Sunday? We'll get to it coming up. We'll talk to you at 888-808-1019. And Tommy Lugauer, being admirable that he is wearing an L today for his Tommy DeVito take. Well, there's a chance he may have to wear 2 L's today. Tommy. We'll explain why a little bit later on. All live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.